this is not a new development. Erdoğan has been trying to push for this for many months, if not years, and finally, somehow through quite a mysterious and unclear phone conversation, Trump agreed to withdraw the few US soldiers that were positioned there. And just to make clear that the US Army, the US, Trump himself, the Syrian Democratic Forces and Turkey were well aware that these troops still remained posted there essentially to act as human shields to stop a Turkish invasion. Now, what we saw yesterday was the beginning of this invasion, the long-promised invasion by Turkish President Erdoğan. And, you know, as many people have said, as there's a consensus all around the world and with public opinion, is the consequences of this can be grave and will be grave. It's not only that it's essentially threatening a Kurdish genocide, it's not even just a possibility, it will create and cause the resurgence of ISIS. It will add to the international refugee crisis, but also, equally as importantly, it will crush the democratic, ecological and women's liberationist experiment that has been happening there, as well as the Kurds fighting against ISIS. I was in a refugee camp in Greece in 2016, and I spent a short time with them and, you know, talking with them, discussing with them. Most of them at this camp happened to be Kurdish, but there was also Syrian Arabs and other peoples at this camp as well. And it was it was almost every single person we spoke to spoke about the brutality of the Turkish authorities at the border, of when they were trying to cross, the extortion of these people, making, confiscating their belongings, their goods, if they had any gold or money on them, to obviously try and live and look after their families. A lot of the time these were confiscated. They reported things like working at some of these, trying to work at local places, and because there was no protection, their wages not being paid, and so therefore shooting refugees trying to flee into Turkey in the first place is not a new thing. Now the forcing of Syrian refugees back into Syria, again, almost entirely is not a voluntary move. So Erdoğan declaring at the General Assembly of the United Nations on the 24th of September with a map, essentially declaring that he was going to alter the demographic of this region and, quote unquote, settle his Syrian brothers and sisters in this region, is absolutely unprecedented, because often world leaders do not declare beforehand that they're about to commit war crimes. Firstly, an unprovoked attack is obviously by definition, by the UN and Nuremberg Principle, a war crime, but also to force the movement of people involuntarily and also to alter the demographic of a region is, again, by definition, ethnic cleansing. And Erdoğan declared all of this publicly at the United Nations a few weeks ago. But for some reason, he can do it and get away with it, which to us on the receiving end seems bizarre. But it also seems like he's very, very good, as you've already mentioned today, at blackmailing Europe with the 3.5 million Syrian refugees that he holds in Turkey, unfortunately in very bad conditions. But nonetheless, they're there, and he's somehow preventing them from getting to Europe.